Terry Aiken is the curator of the museum. Terry Aiken is the curator of the museum, and he's going to come out and talk a little bit before the other Terry comes out to tell us about the FAC Museum. So we're going to wire him up. You're going to use a handheld? Okay.
I realize that everyone's been patiently sitting there, and obviously if there needs to be a break to the restroom, I'm not totally offended if people get up and leave. The only thing I ask is please don't leave in groups. Well, I want to personally welcome you to the National Museum of the United States Air Force. Some of you are here for...
It is on. Hold it up higher.
Hold it up higher. All right. Got it. How's that? How's that? Better. I realize that some of you have never been here before. Some of you have been here a long time ago, and then some are actually frequent visitors. So let me speak to those that have never been here or it's been a long time. Right now our facilities is about 1 million square feet. We receive 1.3 million visitors a year. 1.3 million people coming to see the Air Force story. I'm sorry.
That's better.
With the 1.3 million visitors a year, the demographics of our visitors indicate that 92%, and this is characteristic of the American population today, 92% of our visitors have had no military experience. They come out of curiosity, they come out of interest because of maybe family members who have served, but they come to see something, hopefully the Air Force story. I must say that we have divided our visitors into two broad groups, draggers and draggees. There are those that really wanted to come, and they're usually dragging somebody behind them. And quite frankly, to many ladies, spending a day at the Museum of Death and Destruction is not exactly the highlight of their life. We know that. And so what we've been doing here is changing our exhibits to reflect, first of all, the people who have never been in the military. If you say squadron, they don't know what you're talking about. We have to focus in on that new audience. Plus the fact that we find with over 300 some odd aircraft here on display, you can sort of OD on that. And to engage the new audience, it's not so much the aircraft, but it's the story around the aircraft, and most interesting, it's the people. More and more we focus in on, with our new exhibitries, picking up on people's stories. This, and we find that draggers and draggees all enjoy that. They all can engage in this human story that's around. And really, that is the history of the United States Air Force. It lies within the airmen and the people themselves. So we feel that it's an appropriate focus. We're so proud to have the three key aircraft, the O-1, the O-2, the OV-10 in our collection, grouped together appropriately in the Southeast Asian Gallery, which is now definitely being expanded with some nice exhibitry. A couple issues about the museum. One, the facilities that you're in, these three buildings, the missile gallery, etc., are built with private funds. The Air Force Museum Foundation has been very effective over the years in fundraising and providing for this continued construction to meet our needs. The Air Force itself provides the very much needed O&M funding for the employees, funding for heat, for light, etc. And that gives the museum a great sense of financial stability. The air staff and the secretariat both have demonstrated over the last years a great feeling of support that this is their museum, it is the National Museum of the Air Force, and we will not want. We have just gone through a manpower survey. Dealing with manpower surveys is not the funnest thing in the world. Some of you have been through manpower surveys and can certainly attest to that. They have found that we are understaffed by 77 positions. We do what you see with 96 employees. Now, the fact that we have 500 volunteers counts. It really, really counts. Those are the people on the front end making those contacts. So I guess out of this, I wanted you to know that the National Museum of the Air Force has a great public support by both attendance and financial support for capital construction. And we also have great support from the Office of the Secretary and the air staff to maintain a quality class act that we can present to the visiting public. Thanks to 9/11, there are virtually so few areas now that people in the community can come and learn about the Air Force. Getting on bases is just not an option anymore. Coming here, though, when they can see YF-23s, B-2s, things that they have read about and get a better understanding, that translates into public support for the Air Force in both political, personal, and budgetary terms. It's a good investment. Specifically for you, specifically for this group, we have long been enamored, long admired the FAC story. Many of you know that we have put together an excellent collection of Vietnam-era party suits, and that nails and coveys and rustics, etc., are very well represented in that. We have FAC party suits on exhibit, including in a newly constituted FAC exhibit with the aircraft. Our long-term goal with the FAC exhibit is that's a seed exhibit. We would very much like to see it grow over the years to be similar and rich in content to what you see with the Wild Weasel exhibit. We have a continued interest in uniforms, in memorabilia, our research division, which is very well facilitated, as Daryl can attest to, still welcomes printed material, audio, and visual materials. We are keenly interested in building the exhibit, and certainly we have many, many lineal feet of exhibit space that can be utilized as we grow along. Again, I'm really happy that you're here. You've come for the gathering to be with friends, and happy that you've chosen to be here at the National Museum of the Air Force. And thank you for your patience and guidance in helping me with handheld microphones. I hope I've managed to keep this now in the right position that you've been able to hear. Do any of you have any specific questions that I could answer for you now? Sir.
If you make a donation, does it become property of the museum?
Donations become property of the United States Air Force. It is Air Force historical property, part of the National Historic Collection. As such, it's provided for very well. I mean, we have very strict guidelines, federal guidelines and federal law, which afford historical property great protections and care. Other questions or comments? Okay, if nothing else, thank you. Happy to be with you.
Thank you.